So hi, hello, hola, guten Tag, ni hao, hi everyone. I'm happy to meet you here, and I believe all our shiny panelists are. They are brilliant. Just look at them. So please let me introduce our team for today for this panel. And Angela, let's start with you. Say hi. I want to introduce Angela Humphrey. She's a VP of Business Development at Yauheni. Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, I work at Yauheni. It's a retargeting DSP. Here for any questions or needs, and excited to speak today.
Hi again. And now, Rachel. I want to introduce Rachel Bergman. She's General Manager North America at More Engage. Hi, Rachel, and welcome.
Hi, Lina. Thanks. Yeah, representing Mo Engage, we're a customer engagement platform. Excited to talk to you guys about mobile messaging.
And we're excited either as well. And Christoph, hi Christoph. I want to introduce Christoph now. He is Team Lead Performance Marketing at iTranslate. And what is more, he is also a co-founder of Foxperience. Hi, Christoph.
Hey all, it's a pleasure to be here today. So if you want to speak in over 100 languages, then go and download iTranslate.
Also, I like Deutsch, by the way, so let's talk later. I also want to introduce Yauheni Karabeinikau. Hi, Zhenya. Zhenya is an SO manager at Vuga, a great gaming company. Hi, Zhenya.
Hey everyone, hi Lina. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, we at Vuga develop story-driven casual games. Our flagship game is June's Journey, and basically I'm responsible for App Store optimization efforts for this game and for some other exciting games in development.
That's cool because some of our SplitMetrics team members are playing this game with pleasure, so that's really awesome. And last but not least, pleasure is ours. And last but not least, recently joined us, Alper Taner. Hi, Alper. Alper is an independent app growth consultant. Looking forward to listening to your insights today, Alper.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I've been at marketing for over 10 years now. Worked both in product and marketing teams. And I usually help apps scale. I've been spending $25–30 million a year and trying to help with the full stack and full funnel.
So thank you, Alper. And let's start with you, basically. Our topic for today is actionable tactics for optimized user acquisition and re-engagement. And I think it won't be excessive to first start with the definition. So I wanted to ask you, how would you define optimized UA and re-engagement in 2024, which is around the corner, by the way?
I believe in full journey optimization. Yeah, creative is important and it will be always important, but it won't do the job alone for a successful / optimized UA. But when we optimize everything starting from the MarTech side and then ASO and CRO and CRM, this will lead to optimize UA and engagement, because MarTech tools can help measure product performance, attribution, let us measure ROAS, and help us automate and personalize the CRM initiatives, which at the end will lead to better user engagement and retention. And tooling really matters. And on the ASO side, we want to give the first impression to convert those visitors into downloaders. And then on the product, CRO and CRM side, we basically focus both on the organic and the paid traffic to convert them into subscribers or customers, mostly through onboarding and paywall optimization for subscription apps, and onboarding and sales funnel optimization for e-commerce on the CRO side. And in the CRM side, it's optimizing the lifecycle of the user. It has a big impact in activation and prevent churn. That's why it's not just about the showing the creative, but overall, when we optimize both the creative and the ASO and the onboarding and payroll or the sales funnel within the product that is supported by the CRM, then we can have a optimized and more effective UA now and also in 2024.
Thank you so much, Alper. You basically mentioned a lot of things we are going to discuss later today. And speaking of MarTech, we had a session on day one. So if you guys are interested, you will get the recording after App Growth Week. And now let's speak re-engagement. So I wanted to ask, what are some emerging trends in re-engagement and how basically app and game developers now can stay ahead of the curve? Angela, I know you are an expert on that, so please share your thoughts here.
Thank you, Lina. So I would say that a lot of expansion on uplift testing is what I'm seeing lately, utilizing more tools, whether that's investing more internally, hiring more data analysts, things like that, or investing in third-party tools that focus on uplift testing or utilizing the MMP tools themselves. And I think something to note, not to just jump in. I think it's, very exciting and very compelling, but it's also what approach works best for you and your app. So take it slow. What is your goal for uplift? Prepare any partners of yours for any upcoming tests, pick their brain if need be. I would encourage marketers to ask themselves, what are my uplift benchmarks in addition to attributed KPIs? How do they relate? What access to the data do I have? And then what methodology do I feel is best for my needs? So, many supply partners can also run the uplift testing and then send back the data for validation. So, for example, we honed in on ghost bidding methodology as our preferred method. And so we're close to the data, the audience segmentation itself. We can split the control and test groups on our side on the segment level, and then track the users on the bid impression level between users who are exposed to an ad versus users who are not shown an ad. So really just, thoughtful approach before jumping into all these different tools.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Angela. Very interesting. Uplift testing. I think many people of our audience will now get interested and reach out to you later to get more details on that. Among the emerging trends we are seeing across the board for many teams is the usage of AI. Guys, we've mentioned AI and discussed within other panels several times today and during the previous App Growth Week days. So I want to ask about utilizing AI, artificial intelligence, for engagement of mobile users of mobile apps and games. So, Rachel, can you think of any examples where brands are successfully leveraging AI to grow their apps? Or probably you could share your own hands-on experience or take on that.
So my perspective is going to come a little bit more from the once someone's in the app and they have it and they're in there and you want to kind of continue to engage and ensure that you don't need to actually re-engage them. So I think we have a lot of really great perspectives on this panel around like getting people to the app in the first place through the App Store. So my perspective is a little bit different on the messaging side. But yeah, you can't have any conversation, I think, today in any of these channels and not talk about AI. We're very AI forward at MoEngage. But some of the cooler kind of ways that we're seeing it used in like messaging within the app are using AI to predict best time to send. So best time for like a push notification to show up, for an inbox message to come in. Best time to maybe like deliver a nudge to a consumer, to a user of the app. like testing, different creatives, different tone, different messaging, different offers, depending on what type of app you are, if you're e-commerce or gaming or something else, but different messaging, different ways to communicate. And then of course there's the whole, ChatGPT angle of actually using AI to help even just, craft the message itself. And that can be tested against your own creative. It can be tested against different messaging that you come up with through that. And applications like MoEngage and many others are kind of using that and using it, like looking at your creative and seeing, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, and then using that AI to build off of what you've done in the past. So I really think, the applications are kind of endless. But I definitely think at this point, since we have it and it's here, it's going to keep growing and getting better. But if you're not like experimenting with it at this point, then I think you're probably a little behind, especially in the messaging space where it really is possible at this point. And again, I think a couple of things to focus on, we just mentioned, but yeah, some really, really exciting trends there.
Well, Rachel, I can't but agree with you totally, really relates. By the way, we at SplitMetrics have just recently launched a comprehensive AI report. You mentioned that there is a variety of use cases for AI, and we added separate chapters, AI for SEO, AI for user acquisition. So I would ask our organizational team to drop the link on the chat. And meanwhile, Alper, probably you have something to add about artificial intelligence for user acquisition.
Yeah, I can give examples maybe from both UI and CRO side of things. On the user acquisition, basically, we can create creatives from scratch, but a person mostly is for like new ideas in terms of concept or enhancing the creative copy. And it also works for localization, of course, both in the text assets and same as the visuals. And I think everyone should have the AI as a companion. And so far, the feedback from people who complain about AI is just that they have very high expectations because it won't do the job for you, but it will help you. It could be your intern, it could be your just a teammate, a colleague, and it's important to, I think, take advantage of it. And in the CRO part, it's also helpful for able and onboarding wording or design ideas. Recently, what I used was to come up with a table package names that is related with the app niche, because I wanted to create something out of not just monthly and yearly, but wanted to make it something cooler. And the small things are even interesting, and you just test and see what works better for your users.
Thank you, Alper. Yeah, AI is a great assistant. You just need to ask the right questions to it, and double check everything. And again, referring to our recent sessions, Peggy and Zaz, she opened App Growth Week this year, like the previous one, and she shared her thoughts on AI. Highly recommended to take a look later. And now let's move on to user acquisition, and I would like to discuss such an effective and efficient channel today. This is, I think, a must-have for all iOS developers. And Christoph, I want your opinion on Apple Search Ads. What do you think about this channel in regards to scaling and mobile growth?
Yeah, definitely. So Apple Search, as it said, is one of the most important channels for iOS developers, definitely. Especially when you want to grow there, I would definitely recommend, and that's not paid now, use SplitMetrics Acquire, because it really goes far beyond the Apple Search Ads UI. Just to name a few examples, like it visualizes all the data you have in a way more better way. You can make decisions way quicker. You can integrate all your data and optimize your campaigns really towards the metrics that matter to your business. And also you have tons of automation. So no matter what idea you have, you can probably automate it and improve your ROAS from it. Then another great way to grow on Apple definitely is using custom product pages and really nail the search of your users, which goes kind of hand in hand with my next point, which is the structure of your Alper Search Ads campaign. So really enable a great structure so your CPPs can really grow in power, so to say. And also that helps you to avoid that just a few keywords eat up all the budget of yours. And last but not least, definitely have discovery campaigns on, because that enables you to constantly find new keywords and especially new trends in your niche. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Christoph. That's so sweet of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to totally agree in regards to campaign structure and in regard to discover campaigns either. And to build a great account structure, there are several options. You also can find materials on our blog or in our comprehensive Apple Search Ads course. So go ahead. And Zhenya, I also wanted to connect you to this question. I know that you have something to share either.
Yeah, sure. So I just want to continue Christoph's thoughts on the whole Apple Search Ads topic and mostly focus on custom product pages. We at UGA, we are fans of custom product pages, and we think that many publishers still don't use it to the fullest potential. But what I want to add, that apart from having a nice campaign structure using CPPs for certain keyword groups, not just clusters of keywords like generic versus brand, but also try to always test the new CPPs for those keyword groups. Don't stop just on something that you found that works best for you. I think it's an iterative process, and you should keep testing those out, specifically on certain geos. Something that works in the US might not work for Germany, etc., etc. So this is basically, I think, something to start with if you want to scale on Apple Search Ads, for sure.
Thank you so much. A great addition. By the way, we had a poll yesterday, and we asked our audience if they utilize custom product pages and for what purposes. And I guess like 44% they voted that they utilize CPP for targeting various segments of their target audience. And this is in line with what you just mentioned. Different segments, they can be in various geos, in various markets, also various gender categories and so on. So yeah, great addition. Thank you so much. And we have recently discussed re-engagement trends, but I wanted to get back to that and ask you guys for some specific actionable tips, insights that would be really helpful for our audience. So the question is, what are some effective ways to re-engage target users, and what are some effective strategies for retaining users, and what's most important, reducing churn? So Angela, could you please help us on that?
Yes. So a big part of it has to do with the audiences you are targeting. So asking the right questions to be strategic and prep for that. So at what point is the app experiencing user drop off? Do I have all of the relevant in-app events mapped in the MMP so that it can empower those audience segments? From there, it's all about playing around with the data, testing out the balance of quality and quantity of a user base, approaching them at the right place, right time is where it counts. Applying particular time frames, additional parameters using those events that you've mapped in the user flow. And then if you don't have a data science team backup, there's a lot of tools within the MMPs that you can use. Of course, DMPs as well. And then also DSP partners that have their own DMP-like tools can be used.
Thank you, Angela. And so, Christoph, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So basically a bit going outside of re-engagement now. So I think it's already pretty important to do the correct onboarding. So take your user by the hand and show them like the most important features that they maybe don't even find that easily. and present your app in the best possible way. And that should already help you a lot in re-engagement as well, because it takes out the stress, you know, of losing too many people just because they don't know how to use the app.
And Alper, oh, Rachel, go ahead. Oh, no. I heard, yeah, probably I'm just hallucinating, you know, sorry, Alper, it's your turn.
Yeah, I agree with also Christoph's point, like with some apps, like you open it, it's just completely blank and user even doesn't know what to do. So tooltips definitely help. And from the like CRM perspective, I think one tip could be that most brands focus on win-back campaigns mostly, but instead it's a best practice to have your CRM automation that covers the activation and just the regular engagement and event-triggered funnel automations. Then we have the prevent churn. We have the whole referral mechanism that we can manage through CRM. And then we have the reactivation and win-back campaigns. So it is not just about trying to get them back, but moving them through the full funnel and the full cycle. But also don't overdo it. I saw one example when the app was sending, like I think 2 or 3 times push notifications during the user's trial, which led to like a churn during the trial and so on. So yes, you want to be helpful to onboard the users, but make sure that you test and roll out slowly rather than to 100% of the users.
Thank you, Alper. And you basically started with mentioning various aspects of user acquisition in 2024. And among other things, you emphasized the importance of ASO and creatives. You know what I'm talking about. So I just want to move on to App Store product page and the importance of the App Store product page design for user acquisition and engagement. Is it important at all? Such a provocative question, and I want to address it to Christoph.
Sure, yeah, definitely a great question, because it's of the utmost importance, I would say, because it's the first touch point of your potential users. So make sure you nail all the benefits your app offers for them. And especially when you think of like search results, make sure that the first 3 screens in the portrait format, or like the first screen in your landscape format, really nails it. So because that is what's shown up on the search results, and that should be convincing enough to bring the users into your product page. And also thinking of UA in that sense. So I would say the best campaign structure and setup would never help you if your product page is really crappy. So you really need to make sure that users are convinced to download the app at the end of the day. So yeah,
agree. But yeah, thank you, Christoph, because not everyone would even scroll further.
Exactly.
Many of the users will drop after the first screenshot if that's not what they really expected, and if it doesn't meet their needs. So, Zhenya, I believe you will confirm what Christoph just said. What do you think?
Yeah, it would be surprising if I said, no, it's not that important, you know. But of course, yeah, some heat to this awesome discussion. Yeah, but of course, product page is a universal element of the whole user funnel, you know, because first the user sees the ad or touches the store page organically, you know, and then it's sort of a bridge to the onboarding in the game or the app. So of course, the expectations of the user must be managed, you know, from the ad to the app. And of course, the right choice for product page design can improve both UA metrics, like improve and increase IPM in certain cases, but also improve early retention metrics, which are vital for any app or any product. So I think it is absolutely necessary to look at the App Store page as sort of part of the 360 overview of all of your marketing activities and uniting them sort of in one centralized place, let's say.
Cool, thank you, Zhenya. And Alper, what do you think of Store Listen on the App Store or Google Play?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. And beyond the design, also we have many other elements like user reviews and ratings. Some definitely also check these, and the design alone will, not convert the user. And also from the UA point of view, like this whole fake ads trend, and that also like leads to inconsistent user journey, therefore a lower conversion rate either at the App Store or in the install to pay TR. And it's not a sustainable solution, but overall, take care of the App Store beyond the design, and then test what matters more for you. Because sometimes people ask, oh, should we test the screenshot, or should we test the icon, or should we test the description, and so on. Easiest way to do it is you just run a test depending on what you want to improve, and then data will guide you.
Yeah, thank you. And sometimes you need to test everything. And I saw Zhenya was nodding, and we now discussed the product page, and I think everyone would agree that this is the App Store product page is at the forefront of all ASO efforts. So let's discuss some actionable tactics and strategies for App Store optimization for the next year, for 2024. Zhenya, the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. And again, bringing more heat to discussion, I don't have any specific steps like how to convert 50% more users, right? But I think what Alper already mentioned, it's important to understand what works really for you. But I think what is important for all of the developers or publishers is also staying on top of all the new functionalities that app stores offer to us nowadays. For instance, in-app event cards, custom product pages. Yeah, they've been already for like, I guess 3 years now, but still more and more people need still to discover them, for the flawless user journey. And so, I think it's just important to test relentlessly. First of all the usual suspects like icon, screenshots, videos, but also take a look at the unusual suspects, like try experimenting with in-app events and with their use, like maybe using certain types of messaging and trying to test it and see how it brings in either new users or also re-engages the existing users through the App Store, actually. So yeah, just be trendy and stay on top of things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we talked AI, and I believe we will talk AI like a few years ahead. And Alper, how can we use AI for ASO purposes? Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, definitely. Wherever there's content, you can utilize the AI. And just before I answer, like I just read that my 3-year-old son are also watching us and is trying to talk. So I just say, hi, Leo. So instead of cartoons, he's watching how to leverage AI and ASO and beyond. So basically, we can use it to generate visuals and text assets. If you're not that kind in terms of you don't want to deal with the whole mid-journey and create the assets yourself, it still works great with just DALL-E to give a direction to screenshots for designers to work on it. So again, you don't have to utilize it to do the job for you fully, but it just helps you how to do that. I've seen examples where people create their own icons and the whole screenshot concept and so on. And I personally use it for supporting on the descriptions side of things, and it's helpful also to find different combinations, and but you do need to provide the search scores, the relevant context, like about the market, about the competitors, what you like about them, what you don't like about them, to humanize the work a little bit instead of getting generic answers. And then I agree with Zhenia's point on keeping up with the upcoming changes. Like Apple announced that there will be some algorithm change soon. So it's already good to think of it, and once it's out, you need to adapt early, and yeah, take advantage of the promotional content and in-app events on both stores. If you don't have ideas of what kind of in-app events you might have or promotional content, you can ask AI for that. So.
Thank you, Alper, and great example. Everyone really liked it, I see. And good point about early adoption, actually, because if you don't start playing AI now, you will be left behind by your competition, because it's already a must. Just like custom product pages that Zhenya mentioned, and we will soon discuss more deeply. But meanwhile, there is a festive season, Cyber Monday, Black Friday is coming, and other holidays like Thanksgiving Day, Christmas, New Year. Do you know what am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about seasonality, about holiday campaigns, and how app developers could leverage this season for their purposes to boost conversion, downloads, engage their target users. So I wanted to ask how to adjust to seasonality trends today. Angela, could you please share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So there's of course differences for what's seasonal and when you're going to be pushing for your specific app. But yes, since we are approaching the holiday season, being prepared for the creatives that you're going to be running, will you be adding promos to that? And then also being prepared for the rise in CPMs, and then balancing the Q4 scale and performance. So we have our own in-house creative studio, so we ask for the plans for Q4 ahead of time. What are they going to be running? What do we need to resize? Because every platform has different specs. And then, of course, asking if they are going to be running promotions, because that will work really well for re-engagement, especially. And then it is an expensive time for marketers. Everyone wants their ad to be seen. High investment equals high reward, and you're balancing these crazy high CPMs, and then you want to make sure that performance backs out. So we ask that marketers plan for that ahead of time. So if you're wanting to have big scale in December, let's start slowly scaling up in October. And how it might look for gaming, for example, would be using holiday themed images in their ad creatives, also including the app icon has a cute little Santa hat and snow falling down. And they might have that around this time of year along with promotion. And then they'll expect that higher scale in December. So we want to scale up sooner to balance out that performance.
Yeah, that again totally relates, because you mentioned this Santa hats, and I remember one of our customers, we should have a case study about that. They tested creatives prior to the holiday season, and they just added a Santa hat to their icon. And after that, this is a true story, they got 40% conversion rate uplift. That was quite spectacular, and I think it confirms even now that it works, and everyone should do that. And yeah, it's very actual and up-to-date topic now. And we recently launched the seasonality guide. It's not an ad guide, guys. It's really valuable. Our team has dropped it on the chat because we provide there not only actionable tips and hands-on experience-based advice from our SplitMetrics agency experts, but we also provide the timeline because Angela mentioned that you should prepare in advance, a month or several months prior to the holiday itself, and we provide the time frame for each holiday in this guide. So just go and get it. I'd say. And of course, Zhenya, being an SEO expert at Google, you certainly have some tips you could share with us today.
Yeah, sure. I could totally agree with Angela, but also disagree a bit. Totally agree on the part about the planning and the testing, like very beforehand, having a structure to it, not just dropping a Santa hat out of nowhere, not informed by any tests, because, and there comes the disagreement part, because for us at Wooga, for instance, it does not work universally. Like we have some countries where the winter creatives, both in UA and ASO, work really great. But in some countries, they just evergreen are always better. So it also says that you should not apply the trends universally, but always test them for yourself, your product. The one funny case actually was that some UA creatives, not ASO ones, with the winter theme, like, with snow, somehow worked best in summer. And so, yeah, this is all very custom and very always related to the product. So as with any trend, seasonal or not, you should be asking yourself a question: have I tested this thing or not? And then make the final call.
Well, interesting thing you mentioned. Probably there were those users who were looking forward to the skiing season, holiday season, and they're like, oh my gosh, snow in the middle of summer. That's what I could dream of. Just kidding, of course, but really interesting. And it's the proof that everything is like very custom, very personal for each app. Speaking of which, personalization, is one of the biggest trends lately. And Rachel, I wanted to ask you, what is your take on, and what are your recommendations in terms of personalization trends today, and how companies could apply them?
Yeah, I mean, I think from like a messaging perspective, we're just like, I've always been a big believer in using like the data that you have. I mean, it really is amazing, obviously, like how much data we have on a user, even if they haven't like made a purchase or are actually like done something, even if they've just gotten into our app. But we have data on what's going on with the customer in that channel. We have data with what's going on with that customer in other channels. And I think that's sometimes often like forgotten in the personalization realm, of really like using all the data that you have available to you. And I also find, I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with this, but I also find that personalization from a messaging standpoint can sometimes happen when it's a trigger, right? Like someone just did something, which is great. But it doesn't always need to be a trigger because someone just did something, right? I mean, every message, you really do have the ability to use some form of data, whether it's even just personalizing based on time of day or day of week or something like that from a messaging perspective, or it's the actual content, the creative, the offer. So I kind of urge everyone to think a little bit like more broadly about that, and just because I didn't get to speak about re-engagement a little bit earlier, I think these things kind of come together, right? I mean, the whole point is to not have to do re-engagement as much, right? And I think we tend to spend so much time getting people in the door or dealing with them once they've left. And we all know that there's like more time that can be spent in the middle of actually making sure that people stick around and are engaged with what you're doing. And if you're personalizing and you're testing, like you said, Santa's not always going to work. Then we're worrying less about the re-engagement side of things and the acquisition side, and we're worrying more about like how to keep people there and get them excited. So I think I urge everyone to think about it like kind of holistically, and then also just not think about the data that you just have from the app, but also think about the data that you should be kind of bringing together across whatever channels are like important to you and your customer life cycle, because they're probably doing things in other channels that you have and not just the app, depending on what your business is.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That's a great point, because yes, the data is king, and I like the idea of if you utilize all the data you are having, and you leverage that to engage your users, you won't need to like re-engage them to make them returning users. That will help to reduce churn at once, because you are meeting their needs constantly, because their pain points, and you are giving them the content they need. So that's really great point. Thank you, Rachel. And Angela, what are your ideas on personalization today?
Yeah, I mean, as a consumer, it obviously works on me. You can attach a cat video to any cat product and I will buy it. So Instagram woos me every time. But yeah, I mean, from the retargeting standpoint, and then also for user acquisition perspective, my recommendation is to utilize a product feed. It's not just applicable only to e-commerce, which I think is the mindset. It could also be applicable to many other different types of apps. For example, audio streaming apps for audiobooks and or music. So personalizing the genres to specific users based on their interest. So if it's relevant for your app to do so, definitely invest in that product feed and have it built out and ready, and apply it to your user acquisition campaigns and re-engagement in case there is that user drop off, which is likely. At the end of the day, it's all about boosting conversion rates using the data, and then partner up with platforms that can support the product feed by utilizing dynamic creative optimization. So what we do on our end is we help utilize that product feed to have it be seamless and effective, where there's this blank template and then it's populated with the image, the copy, and it's personalized to the viewer on the other end. And in my case, probably with something with cats, so it'll work. But yeah, so definitely I think product feed and DCO are things to look into further.
Oh, thank you, Angela. I'm just the opposite, because I'm all the time watching irrelevant ads on YouTube and thinking, oh my gosh, why am I even seeing it? And when it's really personalized, for example, a bubble ad with Tom Felton, if it makes me want to learn another language, That's why I started with greetings in various languages. Alper, I believe you also been an app growth consultant. You have various use cases and hands-on experience, and I'm sure you provide some personalization tips to your customers. So could you please share them with us today?
Yeah, sure. I was also just checking the chat. There are also some questions about like how
go
to
ahead.
Get started, and there was one more, and then striking a balance between personalization and privacy. So I would say to get started, basically, you can already start personalizing the ads itself. So it all starts with thinking of your personas, your segments, and although we don't do those crazy interest targeting for each persona and different ad sets anymore, algorithms are smart enough to learn who interacts with the ad that you're running, and then in time it will show the same ad to similar audiences that interacted with that ad in the background. So that's already a start at the very top funnel in terms of personalization. And then, of course, we can utilize the CPPs to have a continued personalized journey. And then once the user is in the product, we can personalize the content inside the app and in the paywall based on their onboarding data provided. But the starting point is always your segments and personas, and then what you want them to do. And then with regards to privacy, as long as you tell the user, give me data and I will, in a way, as long as you make it clear what you're going to do with that data and don't use that data for something else than promised, you basically respect the user privacy. And they are the ones who are giving you the data to have a better experience. So if they give the data can take it, and only for that specific purpose, then I personally don't see an issue with the privacy, as long as you're transparent and respecting to their wish by only delivering on what is requested. So
yeah, that's a great approach, I'd say, because privacy of users is one of the key things for now, and many publishers find it challenging. And I like your positive approach. The glass is half full. That no issues if you're like personalizing, working with your target users all the time. So thank you so much, Alper. And you mentioned custom product pages, and this is my next question, basically. So I'd like to ask Christoph, how could you please share how custom product pages can be used for personalization today, with more details?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we heard so much already about it today, right? So
yeah,
a huge thing. So try it out. And basically, especially for app research ads, I think it's a great way to start personalization right away, because users enter some search terms and you know basically what your users are mainly searching. So try and nail the CPP according to that. And you already personalized some part of your user's journey already. Because there's actually no better way to convince someone to download your app other than already showing them what they are searching for. And maybe just an example, like let's think of a video or photo app or hotel booking app or whatever. Whenever a person starts searching for a video editing app, you could nail your CPP according to that. So really showcase how great your app is in video editing, and vice versa. Like when someone searches for a photo editor, then don't go and show the video thing, just show them the photo stuff and they would be happy. And yeah, also when you think outside of app research ads, let's go over to Meta, for example. Like you could really, show your pain points or your customers' pain points, and then send them to a custom product page that really shows how those pain points are solved. And same goes actually also on TikTok with app profile pages. So you basically are really, really very flexible there and can get super creative.
Yeah, thank you, Christoph. So Instagram bloggers and YouTube bloggers, they all should be shown their own CPPs, So Instagram for photo editing and video editing for YouTube, TikTok, of course. Sure. And thank you. And Zhenya, do you have something to add? I believe you've tested custom product pages multiple times, and what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I can only agree with Christoph on all the use cases that your users might encounter in your app, and of course you want to highlight those. What also helps is understanding basically the core unique selling points of your app or your game. Like for instance, for us, for June's Journey, I mean our game, the best performing themes are hidden object gameplay mechanics shown on the CPP, and mystery/true crime themes, because basically June's Journey is a game that has two, let's say, pillars. It's basically hidden object levels and amazing storytelling around it. So yeah, you should tap into your strengths. If you like some sort of inspiration, understanding what your strengths are, please don't hesitate to go through user reviews on the app stores or some feedback from maybe customer care or community pages. That also helps a lot in informing your creative strategy, both for UA and ASO. That's basically the thing. And the important thing also that I wanted to mention, that sometimes these very specific USPs, they work also for broader categories. Like for us, we see that hidden object gameplay scene work also for brand campaigns in general. So you could also try, scaling it to larger audiences and not just focusing on the specific segments as well.
Well, thank you so much, Zhenya, and I have only one thing to it. You might probably know that today tab ads in Apple Search Ads, they will be changing their format in mid-December, and custom product pages again will be really useful for custom product, for today tab ads. So keep in mind that because there will be an updated format, and you can leverage custom product pages for that. So guys, we are so good because we are ahead of time. We have some time left, and we have covered such comprehensive topic, including engagement, re-engagement, user acquisition, SO, Apple Search Ads. That's really, really cool. And also we have simultaneously answered most of the questions from the chat. I think only one left unattended, and this is about something Angela previously shared about the uplift testing. So Angela, can you give an example of how uplift testing works in practice and how it can be used to optimize re-engagement campaigns?
Yeah, so this was Ashley's question, and I wanted to get to it, so I'm glad we got to. So essentially how we apply it, and I'm speaking from like the re-engagement perspective and at UAPI with our methodology. So take that with a grain of salt. There's many different methods and ways that people do this. But for example, a marketer will come to us saying that they have a ROAS goal and for attributed, and then an uplift ROAS goal, for example, like uplift in conversions and uplift in ROAS. So how we apply it is we want the learnings phase to pan out within like the first few weeks into a month. And then we apply the test and holdout groups all the way down to the segment level. So around 90% test and 10% control. And so we're applying that down to the segment level, pulling out as a randomized split. And then from there, we're able to follow the user behavior from the bid impression level to see whether or not what they've done, whether they've been exposed to the ad or not. And then we're able to then send the bid logs back to the client to validate. But that test can be all-encompassing, dynamic and always on, or it could be like a one-off test. We usually recommend having it be always on, but taking like the first couple months with a grain of salt because we're still like in the learnings phase and then applying that, and there needs some time to balance. So from there, if we're understanding how to meet the attributed goals versus the uplift goals, that influences how we then optimize. But again, it's all about that transparency with the client, understanding those goals up front so that we know how to best improve the campaign themselves. But I can go into more details I know that every app is different, every needs are different. So I'm happy to reach out to you separately as well to keep going into detail.
Of course. Thank you so much, Angela. And big kudos and thanks go to Angela from UAPI, Rachel Bergman from More Engage, Christoph Wagner from iTranslate and for Experience, Zhenya from Vuga, and of course, Alper Taner, independent consultant. Thank you so much, guys. I've had pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, actionable tips. I believe this is very useful, and the recording of this session will be rewatched multiple times.